I've been receiving a lot of questions on my soil recipe video about why I chose Sphagnum over Coco Coir. A lot of people believe Coco Coir to be the more environmentally friendly option. I view it as a pros and cons issue, not a which one is right, which one is wrong. I won't try to convince you which one is better, but I'd love to explain the pros and the cons so you can make your own educated decisions. Let's start with the pros of Sphagnum. Sphagnum peat moss has a couple of great benefits. It has higher cation exchange capacity. This is a fancy word for meaning it can hold a lot more nutrients than cocoa. Most plants, unless you're growing a tropical plant, is not adapted to grow in cocoa. As most of these plants evolved or were bred, they grew in something a lot more similar to peat moss. Because of the tannins in Sphagnum peat moss, it's actually antibacterial, which helps prevent dampening off in seedlings. The most common issue people have with Sphagnum is the environmental impact. The famous stat that goes around the internet is Sphagnum only grows 1 millimeter per year. What they forgot to mention is because the bogs are so massive, 1 millimeter of growth is actually 20 million tons of growth each year, and they only harvest about 1.38 million. That means each year only 7% of the new growth is harvested, and in total, less than 2% of the entire supply has been mined. It grows 50 times faster than we're currently harvesting it. The claim that Sphagnum is not renewable doesn't really hold water when you look into the numbers. Coco Coir does have a couple benefits of its own. It is generally a waste product, so you are basically recycling it. It can actually hold more oxygen in the root system, preventing root rot. Oftentimes it's marketed and sold as having zero environmental impact and being guilt-free. It really just isn't that simple. Cocoa does have its own cons. It can't hold the same amount of nutrients as Sphagnum. Now obviously coconuts grow near the ocean, so they have a lot of salt that gets built up in the husk. It takes about 3 to 5 gallons of fresh water to wash just 1 gallon of cocoa. So if you're worried about environmental impact, that's a huge use of fresh water. Coconut is also often grown in third world tropical countries. At least if you live in America, it's a long shipping route to get here. Sphagnum has a much shorter trip to travel. Just from Canada to America is a much shorter trip. And because Coco Coir is produced in third world countries, oftentimes the workers in the factory are being underpaid and work in terrible conditions. Cocoa works fine. You can definitely use it in a one-to-one substitute in any soil recipe, including my own. I personally chose Sphagnum because I think it works better, and I don't think it has the massive environmental baggage that most people think. I hope that makes sense, and I hope now that you're armed with education, you can make your own decisions which one abides by your morals and will work better for you in your garden.